about the DFDS Mini Cruise and all the travel that's on my channel. So welcome all, welcome to the live. Do pop your questions down below. Any questions on my travel, especially on the DFDS, which was my last holiday to Amsterdam. I'm very happy to answer them for you, so pop them in the chat below. Welcome all, good night, and do let me know where you're joining me from. And if you subscribe to the channel, how long you've been a subscriber. If you've not yet subscribed, I'd love you to subscribe. So I'm gonna just get straight into the Q&A. Some of the Q&As are found online, but sharing my experience of being on the DFDS. If you've seen my videos, I did go live when I was on the ship. So there's plenty already on the channel on what I got up to on the DFDS. It's something that I definitely recommend you do. It's such a fun holiday to do from the UK. And I went in February, but I'm sure it's much easier to do it. Or you'll actually have more to do if you did it another time of the year. So yeah, I'm just tonight just answering all your questions that you have on the DFDS Mini Cruise. Thank you so much for being on the live. When you do come on, I'm so grateful for all my new subscribers. This is Travel with Shev, where I share with you my travel around the world, and my intention is to go to as many countries as I can. And so there's a lot of travel coming up this year, and I'll be doing like a Q&A, a quite frequent Q&A whenever I can jump on to answer your frequently asked questions on any one of my holidays. Tonight we can focus on the DFDS. So if you have any questions, I am happy to answer them on the DFDS Mini Cruise that I did. And so yeah, if I start to get some questions in the comments, I will start to answer them. So welcome all, welcome to the live. I appreciate you being here. We're going to cover a lot tonight. I'm intending to be on here for a good few minutes, especially if you have some questions. I'm going to be answering them. So welcome to tonight's live on the DFDS Mini Cruise. Grateful to answer your questions. Do let me know below. So this mini cruise, where does the mini cruise go? I left from Newcastle upon Tyne. Well, actually I was in Newcastle, then I went to Newcastle upon Tyne. Had to get there. So once you get to Newcastle, you do have to, from the central station, I got I got an Uber, but there is a dedicated bus that takes you from the central station to the port in Newcastle upon Tyne. So there's several ways to get to the port to get the DFDS. Hi AK47, great to have you on. I'm answering questions tonight on the holidays on my channel, specifically on the DFDS. So if you have any questions about my travels on the DFDS Mini Cruise, I'm happy to answer them. So once we got to Newcastle, we took an Uber, and it was myself, my aunt, and my children. Took an Uber, and then we got to Newcastle upon Tyne to the port, and also the Ambassador cruises also leave that port, so we was able to look around. It's my first time actually going to Newcastle upon Tyne. So we looked around, really nice port, and then we boarded the ship. In the actual station, there's a lot of model ships. So you can actually have a good look around. Hi everyone, welcome to the live. Grateful to have you here. Grace, Alex, Layla, everyone that's on. Thank you so much for joining tonight's live. I'm talking today about the DFDS Mini Cruise. You may have seen the videos on my channel. Left Newcastle upon Tyne in the UK, and we went to Amsterdam, and I'm just sharing my experiences tonight. So if you have any questions about the DFDS Mini Cruise, do pop them down below. I'll be answering them. So once we got to the port, we had to wait. We got there quite early. We checked in. It was told, because it was half term week, we was told to check in a bit early. So we went on about 4 o'clock, got some time to look around the ship. And there was not really much safety information that we had to do. If you're doing a cruise, you probably have to do that. But you can actually just get that emailed to you. So we got on the ship, went through all the necessary checks. They scan your bags at the port in Newcastle upon Tyne. It's just like any other area that you would travel to abroad. Your bags will need to be scanned at the port in Newcastle upon Tyne, and then you go on the ship, and then they let you know where you're going to be staying. It's a really, really, really nice ship, actually. It's a mini cruise, as I said. You can just take this as a ferry. You can go on with your cars. There's lots of cars, but we were foot passengers, So we got on and we were able to just find out where we was going to eat, look around the ship. My children were very excited because this is our first ever cruise that we've ever done. So do check out the videos actually. And I do have one coming up on a ship tour that will show you actually what I'm talking about. So look out for the ship tour, which I will link in this video once it's done. It's just really a great holiday. So how long was the crossing? It's about 16 hours to get from Newcastle to Amsterdam. Very nice. As I said, the ship has a lot of entertainment on there, so you're not really bored for that amount of time. You are fully entertained for the 16 hours that you are on the DFDS. You can go to karaoke, there's a children's play area, there's food, there's a specialist dining, just like you'd have on any cruise. So you're not bored for those 16 hours. And my tip is to actually go with a group of people. So the ship is actually the holiday, and Newcastle is, Newcastle upon Tyne is part of the holiday. So you do that, then you go on the ship. That's the second part of the holiday. And also you'll have your trip in Amsterdam as well. So it's like you can make the most of it. You can tailor your trip around what you want from the DFDS Mini Cruise. It's a very short cruise. So we left on Tuesday. We left Newcastle on Tuesday. We got to Amsterdam on Wednesday, and we was back on the ship Wednesday evening to come back home on Thursday. And we got so much done that, you'd think that we was there for a week. So definitely go with a group and you're able to get the most out of your trip. So it's a 16-hour crossing, but entertainment all the way. There's a bar, there's clubs, there's all that you want to do on that ship. And if you go with a group, especially if you've not seen them for a while, you've got to catch up. There is duty free. There's, as I said, it's just a really nicely designed ship. Lots of different people. So if you're like me and you enjoy talking to a lot of people, you'll have a lot of fun on the DFDS. Is it worth it? Yes, it's worth it. I got my DFDS through the actual DFDS website. Every year, like different times of year, they have different promotions going, and I managed to get a really good promotion. They sometimes have half off, so 50% off. So you can also do that as well. So you get it for a good price. Sometimes you can get each room for £100. It all depends on the time of year that you take the DFDS to cross to Amsterdam. If you've never been to Amsterdam, I think this is a better way than flying to Amsterdam. I would definitely recommend it than flying. You can take as much luggage as you like. And if you want to shop, we did shop when we got there. There's Primark. There's all the other stores that's there. So we did shop. So if you want to buy stuff in the duty free or shop when you're in Amsterdam, you're definitely able to go. So is it worth it? I think definitely it's worth it. If you've got small children, it's definitely worth it, because from the moment you're on the ship, you're on holiday, right? So it's definitely worth it. And they'll be excited by being on the ship. It is the North Sea, and we went in February last month. It was very rocky. So if you have children and they get seasick, we did stop in Newcastle and get our seasickness quells tablets from Superdrug, and we were fine. We didn't need them because my girls don't really get travel sick, and neither do I. But I had them because the sea was rough. It's the North Sea. So I always recommend getting seasickness tablets for the crossing. So what exactly is a mini cruise? We were able to eat. So part of our deal, we were able to add on breakfast and dinner, and we of course had a cabin. So it is a cruise. It's a short cruise, but it is a cruise, and that's why it's not a ferry. It is actually a cruise, just a very mini cruise. Are you at the destination, which is Amsterdam, long enough to explore? Remember to give this video a like. Thank you so much, everyone that's watching. Really grateful to have you here. Do give this video a thumbs up if you're finding this information useful. If you're in the UK and thinking of taking the DFDS Mini Cruise, I'm giving you all the information here in this video. So we got to Amsterdam about 10 o'clock, and we were able to explore to about 3 o'clock. But really, it's about 4 hours. It was the dead of winter, and it depends on what you want to do. It really is not a lot. It's not a long time. You're not in Amsterdam for a long time, so you can't really do much. As I said, I think this holiday is more about the cruise than about the stop. There is another option where you can stop in Amsterdam for a night. I recommend you do that if you want to see Amsterdam in any great detail, or any of the neighborhood, like Belgium or anywhere else. You can just stop over for 1 or 2 nights and explore the area and then come back on the DFDS. That's not the package I went for, so I don't know very much about that, but you're able to do that with the DFDS Mini Cruise. So yeah, how many hours you're in Amsterdam? You're in Amsterdam for about 3.5 hours to 4 hours, and you need to get back onto I didn't talk about the transfers actually. So there's a transfer bus once you come off the ship. to pick you up and to take you to Amsterdam Central, right beside Central Station, and they will pick you up back from that same location. Thank you so much for everyone that's joined the live. Do give this video a like, and also pop your questions below if you have ever been on this DFDS mini cruise, thinking of going on. Ask me any questions that you like. Can you skip the ferry and stay longer at your destination? Yes, you can decide to just make it one way. You will go through passport control once you're in Amsterdam. It is a different country, so they will stamp your passport. They're quite strict, actually. They'll ask you questions about you getting into Amsterdam. So you are very much free to make your own way back home after you finish your DFDS cruise. So you can skip all of the rest of the holiday. Once you get to Amsterdam, even if you decide that, you know what, I like Amsterdam, you're on your own, or you're with your partner and you've got time to kill and you like Amsterdam, you're very much able to just stay in Amsterdam as long as you like, book a hotel and come back on maybe another ferry or a flight or the train or even the Flixbus. You can get back home to the UK. Are the mini cruise prices worth it compared to flying or hotel? Is a lot cheaper to fly, but you don't get the experience of being in a mini cruise when you fly to Amsterdam. So I would say 100%, at least do the mini cruise once and have that experience under your belt. Especially if you're trying, like me this year, to travel and have lots of different experiences. Definitely do over flying, but you can definitely get cheap flights to Amsterdam. So it depends on what you want from your holiday. But I wanted to experience Amsterdam and also the cruise. So for me, I'd say the cruise was a much better experience, and you can take as much as you like as well, because it's quite it's not as restrictive as going to an airport or anything like that. So for me, the cruise was better for my experience of Amsterdam. How smooth was the journey on the sea? So as I said, it's an evening, so you leave Newcastle about 5 o'clock, and then it's the North Sea in the night. And I did actually go outside a ship in February, check out, and it was very, very scary. It's very rough. The sea is very rough. The cabin is literally like this the whole time. So it was very rough. If you don't like that sort of thing, then it's not for you. And especially not for you in winter, you're definitely able to try it at another time. So the sea's quite rough in February when we took DFDS Mini Cruise. So do the Mini Cruise deals include a transfer from port to city? I've covered that if you add it on. So once you go and you're going to book and check out your cruise, it asks you, would you like to add the shuttle bus on? The shuttle bus in the UK is optional. So once you get to Newcastle Central Station, you're able to just take an Uber and get there on your own. But once you get to Amsterdam, you have to take the dedicated shuttle buses, because there's no transportation that's there outside of the port. So you have to add that on. It's an add-on price to your mini cruise. What's the best way to find the cheap deals for the DFDS mini cruise? Of course, you can use a voucher, Groupon, etc. But I used the site when they had a promotion going, and that's how I was able to get my deal. And you can definitely get, in the winter, you can get half price to go to up to half price. It depends on what deal you want. And when you add the food on, the food is extra, breakfast is extra, dinner is extra. So you've got to put those prices in as well. So yeah, I've just covered what's included in the mini cruise ticket and what is extra. Food is extra. All the entertainment and all the stuff, all the drinks on board is extra, and you will be paying higher prices, but there is a duty free where you're able to get stuff at duty free prices. Can you buy alcohol or duty free shopping allowances? Yes, but there are restrictions in bringing them back to the UK, so you can buy all the stuff you need in duty free. Within the limits, you can bring them back to the UK. So what happens if the price suddenly change after booking? Not my experience. And once I booked it on the FDS, everything was confirmed. I was sent a confirmation letter and nothing was changed. So you're able to just stick to that. And with booking directly to the company, I know I got a good deal. Sometimes when you go through these other sites, when the deal is advertised anywhere, you might be worried about you know, going on there. So yes, I think just book it straight through DFDS, or if you're definitely sure about using voucher or Groupon. Are cabins clean and comfortable? Yes, And yes, I found them very comfortable. There was 2 adults and 2 children in there, and we were very comfortable. We're family members though. If you're going with friends, people that you don't really know that well, it's going to be very tight if you're in the inside cabins, which we chose. And that's another point to make. The inside cabins are the cheapest cabins and usually the ones that the deals are run on. If you want to go on the Commodore or the exclusive part of the ship, you will need to pay a lot more. So think about what you want from your experience. You can have window cabins, inside cabins, Commodore, etc., etc. So think about what you want from your mini cruise and what your budget allows. And I just wanted to experience it. We was hardly in the room. We went in the room because it was such a short cruise, just to sleep and to be out. We were involved. My children were involved in the treasure hunt, and there's lots on board for under 10s to do, and they were taking part in those. How to upgrade to the cabin. So once you're booking, it will ask you if you'd like to upgrade to Commodore, which is the most expensive one. And with Commodore, you get your food and everything included. So Commodore class, the highest class on the DFDS, can be worth it if you can afford it, because it does come with extra perks. I did travel through the Commodore area, and it was quite nice. You do feel like you're in first class. I don't know about parking. We didn't drive. We took an Uber to the port. So our parking cost at the ports include how much is that? Do you pay extra for meals or entertainment? You pay extra on the DFDS for your meals. Entertainment in terms of the person that's singing at the bar and all of that, that's all free. And there's a really, actually, I think it was deck 9, all the entertainment. There's cinema, so you're able to watch the latest films. There's a games room if you have older children. There's massage chairs. It is a cruise. It's got loads of stuff for you to do, but you do have to pay extra. I think for the massage chairs, it was £4 for 5 minutes or something like that. So yeah. They do sell out very quickly in a peak season. So if you want to travel on the DFDS from Newcastle in the UK to Amsterdam, you gotta be on it. It's becoming a lot popular actually because it's affordable. It's an affordable holiday for you to have. Is travel insurance recommended? It's always recommended. I travel to a lot of countries here on my channel, and I recommend you always get travel insurance. Now, some banks allow you to have that as part of your bank card. So if you're traveling a lot, you need to make sure you have insurance, because especially after Brexit, we don't have certain agreements with certain parts of the EU. So make sure you have your travel insurance covered when you're traveling abroad. You never know. It's a holiday. You're in good spirits, but anything can happen. How quiet are the cabins? They're not very quiet. The doors, the walls, everything is paper thin. You can hear everything. It's not quiet at all. Are bathrooms private? Yes, and I will do a ship tour. However, I didn't show the bathroom. I didn't actually show inside our cabin. So when I go back, and I will go back because it was such a great experience, I will do an inside my cabin tour for you. There are some here on YouTube anyway. You could check those out. Come on, guys. I want to hear you in the comments. Do you have any questions about the DFDS Mini Cruise? I'm so happy to answer them. I'm talking about going on the DFDS Mini Cruise from Newcastle upon Tyne to Amsterdam. It's one of my latest videos on my channel. You can check it out to see what I'm talking about if you're not from the UK. If you're planning a trip to the UK and you want to see a bit of Europe, I always recommend, actually, if you're coming to the UK, come and stay in the middle of the UK, so you're able to travel to Scotland, travel to Newcastle, travel out the country, not just flying, but experiencing things like mini cruise. So bathroom is private, it is clean, cabin is small, and it's comfortable, especially if you're with family members. If you're with people that you don't know, it's going to be uncomfortable. How early can you check in? You are given a check-in time. If anything changes, they will let you know. They're very good with their communications. I found lots of restaurants on board. You've got the main Explorer's Kitchen, which if you pay for the meals, it's an all-you-can-eat. Buffet. So you're able to go in there, and my children absolutely loved it. You're able to eat Chinese, Indian, UK food, bread. Everything is there in that all-you-can-eat, and it's £25 if you book it in advance. It's a lot more if you book it on the ship. So book it in advance. You're able to eat a lot of food. And the more you eat, the more they restock. And also, we got the late dining, so you got to allocate what time you actually want to dine. and then you go in. And we went for one of the latest dining, and we had all the food that was there. Lots of cheesecakes, lots of dessert, all sorts of desserts, all you can eat. I recommend that food, and the food was very tasty. I'm quite picky about my food. The food was very, very tasty on the DFDS. The breakfast was all you can eat as well, and very tasty. All sorts, mushrooms, vegan, lots of options for breakfast. Breakfast and dinner was worth it. Yes, it's a little bit pricey, but to me, it is worth it. Is Wi-Fi available at sea? Yes, Wi-Fi is available at sea. It's not included in your package, so do be careful because you can actually get extra charge. Wi-Fi is available, but it's not part of what you've paid for. Turn off your phone mobile data, put it on airplane mode so that you don't get charged, or check with your mobile company to see what you get in terms of roaming, and don't get caught out. Hidden cost, drinks, food, games, that's all hidden cost. If you want to do anything extra, you will have to pay extra. Yes, there is a wildlife, in terms of activities, there's a wildlife center where, not in the winter, you wouldn't see probably very much. But I'm glad that they included that. Thank you, it's just Len. I acknowledge that. Thank you very much. If you want to go and see the wildlife, if you want to go just watch the sea, there is a nice, and I actually went there. That's where I filmed some of my short videos from the observation deck, from the wildlife center, where you're able to go and whale watch. So if you're into sea life, you can go into the wildlife watch center. Do you check in online or at the port? I checked in online, but you're able to do both. If you go a bit early, like I did, it's a bit of an experience to see the port, to get into the fields of the holiday before the time anyway. So it depends on your preference. I always check in online. You never know. So I like to do that. What time should you arrive at the port before departure? So for us, we were there at 2 o'clock, but we had small children and we didn't check in till about 3:30, 4 o'clock. And that's because it was half term, so they were doing everything a bit early. And that's what I said, it's a great thing. They're really good at communicating. So they did let us know that it's time to actually start boarding earlier so you can make your way. It wasn't quite clear because when we got there, we realized we didn't really need to get there early. I think they were trying to be overly cautious because it was half term, but they do communicate with you very, very well. Yes, they do observe all COVID, all of those things. It's very good. It's very well organized. I was very impressed by DFDS staff. The staff were amazing, lovely. They really got on very well with my children. So shout out to the DFDS staff. You were amazing. You make me want to come back, actually. Do you need passport visas for Amsterdam? Yes, you do. If you're not part of the EU, all of the normal it's another country you're going to. So if you're just visiting the UK and you just got a visa for the UK, you can't board that ship to go to Amsterdam. There's probably a different visa. So check out all of your visas if you're not from the UK. What did I see in the time that I was in Amsterdam? I told you I went to Primark, but not really. We went to this, because I have smaller children, it was very, very cold. I know that this 3 hours was not enough time for me to even go to a museum. So one of my main things to do was to ride the free ferries that went across the river to go and see the different areas. And we went to see the world's tallest swing. We didn't have time to go on the world's tallest swing. I wouldn't have gone on there anyway. But we went to see it. We was able to take a couple of the F4, the F3 and the F2 ferries. We walked around Central Station. We walked around the main strips, went to Primark, walked around the shops, all the children's shops that they wanted to go into. And before we know it, the 3 hours, we got something to eat. And before we know it, the 3 hours was finished and it was time to head back to the bus. And it was bitterly, bitterly cold. It was due to snow, but it's much colder than the UK in February. 4 to 5 hours is not enough time to explore the city. We went by the canal. We spent a good time by the canal watching, but there's not enough time to do anything great in Amsterdam. But it is an experience. The cruise is an experience. Being in Amsterdam is an experience. And if you add on being in Newcastle upon Tyne as well, you can actually have a good go of that. What sightseeing options are from the coach drop-offs? As soon as you come off the coach, you will see the big city tour open buses of Amsterdam. But I read online, I was tempted because I always tend to do one of those, that because of the way Amsterdam is full of bicycles, by the way, I should say that. It's very eco-friendly. Everyone rides a bike, and watch out for the bikes because you can actually get knocked over. It's not worth taking that bus because it just goes around the city because you're not really allowed to drive through it. So we didn't do that, but there is that if you want to do a sightseeing bus that is available. It's very walkable. A lot of the city is very walkable. It's very walk-in friendly and cycling friendly, and you can actually hire bicycles as well. Packing for the trip depends on the time of year. So we went in the winter. I took my warmest clothes, and we needed every one of those warm clothes. Sometimes I was double layering, and I was very cold in Amsterdam. So if it's the winter, do wrap up, take your warmest clothes, and that involves everything: gloves, hats, face, probably to cover some of your face because it was bitterly cold. Yeah, so tips for avoiding seasickness: take your seasickness tablets, go get a window cabin so you can see outside so you're not so claustrophobic. Go outside, walk outside, socialize, talk to staff, take your mind off being at sea if it's not your thing. If you miss the ferry departure, you've missed the ferry departure. I'm not looked into that, so of course you're going to have your stuff on board the mini cruise, but if you've missed it, then you've missed it. How to make the most of your trip: go with groups of friends or your children and let it be a full experience. That's my take on that. So I hope you enjoyed my live video tonight talking about the DFDS Mini Cruise. There's 16 of you on at the moment. Do you have any questions about my DFDS Mini Cruise experience from Newcastle upon Tyne to Amsterdam? Because I'm happy to answer them for you. Do you have any questions? If you do, pop them down in the comments below. If you can't think of them at the moment, I'm happy to answer it. And it's something that I completely recommend. DFDS Mini Cruise from Newcastle to Amsterdam, do it. And do it when it's half price, because you won't believe what you get for that. So you can, if you do get the deal as a half price deal, then you're able to add the dining on without feeling too guilty. Because it is, once you put the dining on both ways, it does add up to probably more than the cost of the cruise. But if you get it half price, in my opinion, it's worth it. I've been so blessed to have you all on here tonight, listening to me. I think I had 27 at one point. I can see there's about 5 of you on now. I'm going to go off, but there's loads of videos on my channel. Do subscribe. Everyone that's on at the moment, hit the subscribe button. I'm posting lots of content in 2026. I've got so much travel already on there. Countries I've been to, loads of countries, been to 20 countries now, and I'll be posting videos on where I've been. So if you have anything that you want to ask me about any of the travels, Cyprus, Jamaica, so many places I've been, just ask me. Canada, America, been there, been to Disneyland, got my Disneyland vlogs coming up from Florida. So check those out as well, and just subscribe, hit the notification bell, because I'll be posting a lot. And thank you so much for being on the live. And I'll jump on here again. It was fun. Thank you so much. I'll see you in my next video. Take care. God bless you.